Well, start off your good morning with a look inside of the United Center in downtown Chicago, where the DNC is underway this week. Last night, former First Lady Michelle Obama and former President Obama hitting the stage there, and we will have more on what they had to say at the podium in just a few minutes.
But first, another chilly day, 6 o'clock here on your Wednesday. So I would take a little bit of warmer weather this time of
Dang
year.
it.
I know. I mean, unless you kept it this way all year round.
I'm the only one I know who would love to see this continue. But, you know, this is one of those days where we are watching, ladies, the temperatures drop like a rock. It's only 46 in Marion this morning, if you could believe that. And we're on our way down, I think, for another couple of hours, actually. I wanted to show you here this morning. By the way, good morning. It is 6 o'clock, and Kokomo is 48. I wanted to show you Indiana and Illinois. Now, Illinois closer to the warmer wedge of air than we are, 55 in Indy and Shelbyville. Muncie has now dropped to 47, Kokomo at 48 degrees. We are now, with these dew points, seeing very, very dry air. The dew points are in the 40s, which means the air dries out faster, which means it gets cooler faster. And as I mentioned, I do think that we're going to see actually the temperatures drop a little bit more before they start to rise. So this is very much a late September, early October morning in Indiana. And take a look at the rain now. This is starting to cross the Mississippi River, Cedar Rapids down to St. Louis. But what's going to happen, this is going to get closer to Effingham and then just go away because there's such dry air over the state of Indiana right now. So with that first cup of coffee, we're going to stay in the 50s through 8 a.m. By 9 a.m., 57 degrees. And by the way, sunrise just a little bit later today at 7:03. This afternoon, our sunset eventually at 8:32, by the way, but 74 degrees for a high. And as the kids have practiced later on today, in the 70s, falling to the 60s by 8 p.m. So we'll have much more on this on the big warm-up next week, too. But in traffic this morning, earlier today, we had some issues, but it looks like things are a lot better now, right?
Looks
Lindsay?
good. And on the west side specifically, we've had some construction that's been ongoing since last Friday. Promised it was supposed to reopen today, hopefully before the morning rush hour, and it opened a lot sooner than that. So that's some good news. If you have been sitting in backups over here on 465 northbound, this is at Washington Street on the west side of town. The on and off ramps were also blocked all the way from Washington Street up to Rockville 10th and Crawfordsville Road. So that has since cleared. That's some good news. We're also watching the south side where we are continuously seeing delays building because of all of the construction that's going on here at Harding Street. And just a reminder, those on and off ramps from Harding Street to 465 east of Harding Street are now blocked. Guys?
Lindsay, thank you. Well, this morning, IMPD is working several shooting investigations happening over the last 60 hours right here in the Circle City. A look here at some of those crime scenes, and now still no word of any arrests that made in any of those cases.
You know, this can be so frustrating for the families who are dealing with loss while also desperately wanting answers as to what happened to their loved one. And equally, it can be troubling for families at home that are seeing the sudden spike in violence. This morning, our Sia New Yorker shares what police want your family to know when it comes to stopping the violence. Good morning, Sia.
Good morning, Julia and Jalea. IMPD has a stern warning for people this morning. Put down the guns. 13 News is tracking these incidents all over the city in the past 60 hours, spread out through at least 8 separate Indy neighborhoods. 6 people have been killed and more than a dozen hurt due to gun violence. Police say some of the shootings are connected, but detectives are still trying to piece together what happened in those cases. In the meantime, police are urging people to find another way to address conflict.
We've continued to see too much of this in the gun violence, and we just have to stop and do better with how we communicate and we work through our issues with one another.
All of this comes as the Indy Fraternal Order of Police, also known as FOP, claims that the city is short hundreds of officers and they need our help. I'll talk about that part of the story coming up on Sunrise at 6:30. Reporting in downtown Indy, Sia New Yorker, 13 News.
When you have these completely, entirely preventable crimes, that's the part that's really disappointing, where we just have to look around and say to us as a community, we have to do better.
Hearing that from Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears after a number of shootings involving children. Right now, police are investigating 2 separate accidental shootings of children involved on Sunday. Mears tells 13 News he is looking into them and trying to determine if he should file charges against the adults. So far this year, Mears says gun charges are outpacing other years. Since 2022, he says he has charged around 7 to 12 adults in accidental shootings involving children. In some cases, neglect charges can be filed, carrying a stiffer penalty between 20 and 40 years in jail.
We do have an update to some breaking news we shared for you yesterday morning right here on 13 Sunrise. We now know that neighbors on the northwest side are on edge after what police are now calling a targeted shooting. Right now, the gunman is still out there. The shooting happened on Udell Street near 29th and MLK. You could see those bullet holes in 2 homes, with the gunshots appearing to have come from just outside of a window. Neighbors obviously are frightened by the gunfire, with one neighbor saying that she was sleeping on her couch when the bullets came through her home.
I couldn't breathe. I'm like, oh my God, just help me, just help me. That's all I kept saying, help me, Lord, you know, and like, thank God them bullets missed me.
Okay. And those neighbors shared with 13 News that the victim lived at that house with his sister. We are still working on an official ID on that victim and what led up to that shooting.
Well, this morning we're learning more about the investigations into 3 people shot on the city's west side. Police are now confirming all 3 are believed to be connected to one another. The shootings happened on Monday. The coroner's office says Nathaniel Thomas is the victim in the shooting Monday afternoon near Michigan and Tibbs Avenue. Another man shot and killed near Michigan and Holt Road is also being identified. His name is Brandon Groves. And at last check, that 3rd person that was shot is still in critical condition. And right now, no word on any arrest in any of those. Well, this morning we're learning more about an IMPD officer suspected of downloading and sharing child pornography.
And now court records reveal how police caught one of their own. Right now, Sergeant Javed Richards is facing 12 counts of child exploitation. Those court documents say that Richards spent hours on the messaging app called Kik, trading videos of child pornography. Police started their investigation after getting a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. A week later, police tracked down the computer IP address to Richards.
Now, police later arrested Richards. Investigators say he told them he didn't have the messaging app account anymore. And during the interview, he also told police, quote, "Whatever happened in that moment, whatever it was, is not who I am. It is not who I am." Richards is due back in court tomorrow. Well, this morning, police are searching for the driver who hit an Army veteran on Indy's west side and then left the scene.
Now we have security video from a nearby home that captured this hit and run. Gina Glaros joins us with how that Army veteran is doing this morning. Such a tough story. Gina, good morning.
Yes, good morning. You feel for him and you feel for his family. He's also a father of a little girl. That Army vet, 37-year-old Dustin Dove, had to have his leg amputated. We spoke with him from his hospital room and he said he wants whoever did this to come forward. Dove says he was standing here on High School Road near 10th Street waiting for an Uber on Sunday. He was standing off the road when a car hit and pinned him against another car. So here's a look at the aftermath. In the security video, you can see Dove and a friend here standing at the end of a driveway, and there that car goes, smashes into Dove. The driver of the car then backs up, and as Dove's friend is waving his arms telling the driver to stop, they take off. Thankfully, he lived, but life is going to look a lot different.
I'm still reeling from it. I recognize that my whole life is about to change. You know, I have to relearn how to live again, you know, in different ways.
Yeah, Dove served 8 years in the Army. One of those years he was deployed in Iraq. but it would be here at home that he would have to face his biggest battle, learning how to walk again. So Dove wants that the person who did this to come forward. His mother and police are asking people for help reviewing maybe some clearer doorbell camera video. You're going to hear from his mom a plea for that driver who's responsible. So, and the doctors say that it'll be about 6 months for him to learn how to walk again on his new prosthetic.
Wishing him the best. Thank you.
Well, actually, Dustin's story is unfortunately one of many recent incidents involving pedestrians just in the last 2 weeks. Listen to this. 7 people have been killed after being hit by drivers in the last 10 days. We talk with the group Indy Ped Crisis about the string of deadly crashes involving pedestrians. And while there isn't a direct cause for this sudden uptick, they are hoping that these recent crashes will be a somber wake-up call.
It's devastating because, you know, these aren't just numbers. There's a person behind each and every one of these incidents and families that are affected.
This group that tracks these pedestrian crises says that this month alone, there have been 70 incidents.
Well, this morning, mandatory sexual harassment training is now in effect for all city-county employees in Indianapolis. Mayor Hogsett signing an executive order after 2 women came forward accusing a former chief deputy mayor, Thomas Cook, you see here, of sexual harassment. Now, a 3rd woman also made accusation but chose to remain anonymous. Hogsett later apologized and announced those changes to improve protections for employees. And this morning we're hearing from Lauren Roberts and Caroline Ellert, who allegedly were sexually harassed and made those complaints. In a statement to 13 News, they say, quote, "We're glad to see movement on one of the steps outlined in our letter. We hope the new training is effective in giving employees a safe space to learn about their rights."
Looking ahead to a big finale on the second night of the Democratic National Convention.
Former First Lady Michelle Obama and former President Barack Obama making their case for Kamala Harris. That's next.